Hello, everyone. This is George. Today, I want to talk about this article that was recently published by Eurogamer, and I think it is a summary of everything that is wrong with Western AAA game companies and how disrespectful they have been to players worldwide. Let's get started. Assassin's Creed Boss discusses devastating impact of Shadows' diversity and inclusivity backlash. Our creative teams face lies, half truths, and personal attacks online. First paragraph. Assassin's Creed franchise boss Mark Alexis Cote has addressed the online backlash which has swirled around the main characters of Assassin's Creed Shadows, the subsequent impact it has had on the game's development staff, and the attempts by bad faith commenters to disrupt and dissuade creative teams from telling stories featuring diverse and inclusive characters in general. So, this first paragraph is just the perfect setup for everything that is coming. And perhaps you may already know where this is going. Couple of highlights here. The author is talking about bad faith commenters. So it doesn't matter if you've been with the Assassin's Creed franchise since the beginning. It doesn't matter if you have supported the franchise for almost 20 years now. You are a bad faith commenter if you dare to criticize what Ubisoft is doing with Assassin's Creed. It doesn't matter if you're a gamer, if it doesn't matter if you're driven by common sense, you're just a bad faith commenter. And then we obviously have this sort of apology about diverse and inclusive characters in general. There's no problem with diverse and inclusive characters. But when you use the Assassin's Creed franchise, when you use medieval Japan as its setting, feudal Japan as its setting, you're expecting, or gamers are expecting, to have characters that actually make sense and not Yasuke, this supposedly black samurai. He wasn't a samurai. We already know all of that is a hoax. It's a hoax. So anyway, let's keep going. The author says, speaking tonight in London at an event organized by BAFTA, red flags over there, and attended by Eurogamer, of course, the legacy media, uh, in cahoots with BAFTA and all these organizations. No surprises there. Cote offers a full-throated defense of his team's work on Shadows, which has come under such notable criticism this year. No surprises there, particularly over the inclusion of Black Samurai Yasuke, he wasn't a samurai, as one of the game's two protagonists. Cote has addressed the subject previously, in particular when the subject was commented on negatively by ex-owner and billionaire Elon Musk, but never before in such an impassioned manner, in so much detail at such length. Discussing the current shifting cultural landscape. I don't know what that means, honestly. Is culture changing and shifting because gamers are now raising their voices against everything that is wrong with Western AAA gaming? Is that a shifting cultural landscape? Or is the culture changing because these big Western AAA game companies are trying to perform social engineering through their products so that gamers worldwide accept progressive agendas? Anyway, let's keep on moving. So Cote described the current discussions around representation and inclusivity in media, because obviously there's nothing else to talk about. These executives are not talking about the quality of their games. They are not talking about what makes sense from a business perspective. They don't talk about the corruption that is plaguing many, well, or basically, most of Western AAA game companies. The subject always has to be about representation and inclusivity. We no longer hear about financial performance. We no longer hear about projects down the roadmap. everything has to be about representation and inclusivity. That's the blanket. But anyway, moving on. So Cote described the current discussions around representation and inclusivity in media as an additional and previously unforeseen challenge. Wow. I'll repeat that. As an additional and previously unforeseen challenge. They're playing naive or they playing, I don't know, victim. Again, this is baffling. These conversations can influence how our gamers are perceived. I'm sorry. These conversations can influence how our games are perceived, but rather than shy away from those conversations, we should see them as a new opportunity, he explained. Okay, that makes sense. He's trying to open ways to communicate. Seems like he's trying to listen to gamers. And Cote goes on. He says Assassin's Creed has always been about exploring the full spectrum of human history. And by its very nature, that history is diverse. Well, obviously, I mean, history is diverse. There are many nations around the world that have been many civilizations. It is obviously diverse. Staying true to history means embracing the richness of human perspectives without compromise. For example, in Assassin's Creed Shadows, we highlight figures both fictional like Naoe, a Japanese woman warrior, and historical like Yasuke, the African born samurai. Well, he's obviously fictional. I mean, are you telling me that an African born individual was a samurai in feudal Japan? Is that what Cote is telling us? Is that what, again, Cote, Assassin's Creed franchise boss? The franchise boss is telling us that an African born individual was a samurai in feudal Japan. I mean, these executives, where do they learn all of this? Really, I mean, who is advising them? Who is telling them what we gamers really want? I don't think anyone is doing that. And if they're getting some sort of advice or if they're asking a consultant to provide some context around all of this, I think they're getting scammed. Because when an executive tells you that one of the characters, supposedly or allegedly a historical character, is an African born samurai, the whole argument falls off. This is dropping the ball in unimaginable ways. Anyway, so Kote keeps on going. While the inclusion of a black samurai in feudal Japan has sparked questions and even controversy, no wonder why, Naoe, as a fictional character, has also faced scrutiny for her gender. Look, and here we go again. The game industry was built by male engineers and artists to please, to offer products that a predominantly male demographic would purchase. You cannot escape that reality. So if you're providing a game under the Assassin's Creed name, gamers will be expecting something out of it. And you cannot go and do a switch and bait strategy when or by including a female character that is not simply not appealing to gamers. In this particular case, let's just Naoe Assassin's Creed. Are you telling me that gamers are going to be interested in this character? Where is her? There you go. Here it is. Do you think this character is appealing? Really? Do you think that the majority of gamers worldwide will find this female quote unquote warrior appealing? First of all, you don't know whether that protagonist is male or female. And then just take a look at the design. It's just boring. is downright boring. But anyway, and then on top of that, you have this Yasuke character. So as you can see, I mean, the more that we try to dissect all of this, it doesn't make any sense. From a creative perspective, from a financial perspective, and from the perspective of gamers, which is the most important one here. Because all these companies are supposed to be selling games to gamers. But anyway, moving on. So, but just as Yasuke's presence in Japanese history is fact, so too are the stories of women who defied societal expectations and took up arms in times of conflict. Kote continued. So while both Naoe and Yasuke's stories are works of historical fiction, wait. Here's where everything collapses with these executives. You were just saying that Yasuke is a historical character. But then you go and tell me that Naoe and Yasuke's stories are works of historical fiction. So, is it fiction or not? Is it historical or not? What are you trying to sell? What are you trying to tell us?